Hi, personality intro here, and I thought I'd take advantage of my wonderful large garden while we still have it, because at the time of recording we're going to move out soon. So probably should have recorded more from this garden because it's big and good. But, you know, the dog's sat down, so at least there's that. The PlayStation had loads of games released for it, about 300,000 or something. I don't know, I made that up. But a lot. The thing is, when you're a popular games console and you get lots of games on you, a lot of them end up being garbage. Simple law of averages, isn't it? So here we are, me sat with a PlayStation at my work desk, thinking about how best to spend my time with one of the greatest consoles ever made. Seems I think that involves playing some truly terrible games and doing a list about them. I'm not looking at any licensed games, maybe one day there'll be a video on those. I actually did a weird tie-ins video a while back, but for now I'll avoid them as they're easy, low-hanging fruit. Always about the tough stuff, me, making those videos nobody would ever think to, like a short list of bad PlayStation games. Huh. Mortal Kombat didn't have a good time of things on PlayStation. I've covered that in another video that might even pop up as a link here if I remember to do it. Basically, none of the MK releases on Sony's console managed to be much more than decent at best. Like eating at Frankie and Benny's, you're either going to get something that fills your belly and makes you a bit sad, or something that makes you actively cry and vow never to return to this particular chain of restaurants again. Is this how you get Frankie and Benny's to sponsor you? I really do hope so. But yes, MK Trilogy was probably the best, and that wasn't great, more just full. Like a Frankie and Benny's menu. That's a much better comparison / joke, I should have just gone with that. Mortal Kombat Special Forces, though, was an absolute turd of a game. It even paled in comparison to the also-awful Mortal Kombat Mythology, somehow managing to outbad a game that was so bad the 1 out of 10 user score it got on Metacritic was genuine, and not just because the developer espoused a progressive viewpoint on Twitter. I'm kidding, of course, that sort of thing didn't happen back then, but only because Metacritic didn't exist yet. Arseholes definitely did. A slow plod around various dull interiors and alleged exteriors, also dull, Special Forces mixed the finely honed combo system of the core Mortal Kombat series with a blender full of rocks, achieving what scholars refer to as not much. Fights were more tedious than your dad's opinions, levels were as confusing as your dad is boring, and generally speaking, anyone who played it was left with a feeling that can only be described as like having a conversation with your dad. Because it was bad, really bad. It was an awful game, and it cemented the legacy of Mortal Kombat on the PlayStation, being, would you believe it, ruinous in the process. I'd like to open this TED Talk with an excerpt from a GameZilla review of Bubsy 3D Forbidden Planet, something that really does sum up my feelings on this, one of the worst of all the games. Bubsy 3D had tremendous potential to give Crash Bandicoot a run for its money, but the tedious controls took care of any chance of this being a great game. The graphics are neat and the worlds are vast and take some time to explore, so the game is not bad. Once you get used to the controls, it is not quite as painful. I found myself getting into the game but doing something I didn't mean to once in a while because of the controls. One word of warning, if you have little ones that like to play this type of game, rent it first. They may become too frustrated with learning the controls and give up. So, is this the end of 2D games? Not yet. I think that 3D platform games will get there, but for now, I'll stick to Rayman. 81%. I think we can all agree that puts across the view that this is one of the worst games ever made, with care and the sort of succinct nature that makes you proud to be a fellow games critic. I've just realised this person gave the game 81% out of 100 possible percents, and the summary I quoted was largely positive, and have in fact chosen to read from the most positive review of Bubsy 3D I could find. Shit. Better people than I have gone into the Weisenhouse of Bubsy 3D's myriad failings. Take into consideration this was a 3D platformer released after Mario 64, so that was the bar the Bobcat was aiming for. This wasn't a world where we didn't yet understand the potential held in the world of 3D platformers. We knew what was possible, we already had one of the best ones that would ever be made. I mean, it's not like they released Super Mario World and then a couple of years later did a middling 2D platformer with Bubsy in it, is it? Wait, yep, no, that's exactly what they did. So, hey, at least we can say Bubsy 3D followed a path laid out by its predecessor, it just did so with a significantly poorer game. Not content with making you spend about 13 years of your ever-dwindling life turning the little orange twerp around, Bubsy 3D also commits cardinal genre sins like making it really difficult to judge where a platform is, unclear objectives and routes, and tops it all with a gobshite of a main character who won't shut up cracking wise, to the point that I had to stop myself cracking the TV while playing it, which wouldn't have been wise. Bubsy 3D is therefore not just awful, it's intensely annoying too. Rascal Races gets a bad rap, I think. It's not very good, sure, but it's by no means one of the worst games in the history of PlayStation, as so many do claim it to be. After all, it's not many karting games where you get such a mix of approaches, from your regular kart racing, through all-terrain vehicles, into the rivers with airboats, even into space with some hovercarts. There's a variety on show in that respect, and with 12 tracks, that's more than enough to keep you going for a while. So it is I've included Rascal Races here as a sort of test to make sure people are paying attention, to really figure out if you know as much as you think you do about games, to help you realise that those other voices you listen to, loud as they are, don't actually spout truth nuggets from their gormless maws. I am the one true truth here. Bransfield is the way. We need to talk. In my race to get one over on all of YouTube, I made a mistake and I hurt people. All these different styles of racing game I claimed were in Rascal Races actually come from 4 different games. They have 3 tracks each. 3! I've let myself down, but most of all, I've let you, my fans who would definitely take a bullet for me, down. I can only hope I can grow from this mistake and become a better hashtag content creator and please the advertisers and the algorithm more. And remember, never actually say you're sorry in these things. Wait, was I supposed to read that out loud? Yes, this is actually 4 releases from the very fortunately no longer operating Miracle Designs: Rascal Races, Miracle Space Race, XS Airboat Racing, and ATV Racers. And they are all the same game. Now, it's easy to pass by something when it's poor but not offensive, as it would be were this all one thing, but split up as they were and as utterly banal as they most definitely were, and a massive rip-off as they were, it steps well over the line from incompetence into the realm of cynical rip-off territory. Miracle Designs didn't just step over the line though, it farted on it on its way past and set up a sweatshop on the other side of things, churning out this low-effort garbage repeatedly to try and grab a quick buck from anyone gullible enough to be in the market for cutesy racers. What should have been bad but not that bad ended up being the disgusting efforts by a bunch of grifters to swindle players out of what little money they had and their hard-earned time. I feel for you in the States. You were never privy to this particular delight, though they missed a trick in it being exclusive to Europe by not calling it Father Christmas, and the language variants thereof saves the Earth. Father Christmas saves the Earth, I mean not literally Father Christmas and the language variants thereof saves the Earth. But, as usual, I digress. You missed out in the States, you really did. Santa's Xmas Adventure on PS1 was a superb little ditty, a reminder of the spirit of Christmas, and a fine manner by which to while away those cold and dark winter nights. I'm lying again, it was utter garbage. I do not know why this game exists. I know how. It was 2002 and it was easy to get any old shite onto the PS1. The console was in its death spiral and nobody really cared about it anymore, so quality control wasn't a concern. Sort of like Twitter then. This meant companies like Telegames could release something called Santa Claus Saves the Earth, even though it told a moving, heartfelt story about Santa Claus saving Christmas. Ridiculous. Bolted onto this egregious narrative flub was, in fairness, one of the best platformers on the PS1 released in 2002, if you ignore every other game in existence. And even then it wouldn't have been the best. No, Santa's Wild Ride was a complete joke from start to finish, quite clearly not a PS1 game at its heart, given the Game Boy Advance version was more or less exactly the same. Quite clearly hardly even a game at its heart. It mixed crappy controls with a complete bunch of nonsense when it came to level layouts, logic, fun, whatever. It was just bad. And capping it off was that look, those visuals, the artistry. If video games are art, they immediately lose that moniker owing to the fact that Santa Claus Saves the Earth exists. Sorry games, you had your chance and this one idiot spoiled it for you. no. Bye!